Hello, I am still that Rob Human, and this is part 14 of my Tabletop Playground mod development series. 14B? Did I say 14B? I meant 14B. It's been a little while, couple, maybe an hour or two, since the last episode, or recording the last episode. I've done a little bit of refactoring here on this project that we started with. Let me walk you through a little bit of what's going on. For one, I added some disabled states. So, like, if you're on the first page, you can't track backwards, and if you're on the last page, you can't track forwards. I did also add a pagination thing, so you can type in a page number to be like, I want to go to page 1 or page 5, and it's smart enough to go, is this past the number of pages that this has, then truncate to, take the clamp of 1 to maximum number of pages. So I can be like, 0, no, you meant 1. Or 5, no, you meant 2, because there's only 2 pages. I have also implemented the previous and next chapter. So, this is not a great example because there's only 2 pages and I only have 2 pages to work with on this PDF. And I'm frankly too lazy to actually fetch a good PDF to test this properly with right now. Before we actually go to release and we commit this for realsies, I'll test this with another PDF in a different project. Anyways, so I've implemented the previous and next chapter. I've also made a small tweak to the search. You'll see that there's this little close button or clear button, so I can be like, clear that, and it'll actually reset the search results, which is cool. I think that's the only change I've made there. On the table of contents, I've actually set it up so you can have nested references. And so because of that, I've actually had to change the shape of the interface. I'll show you that in a second. But now you can have nested tables of content, or the consumer can have nested tables of content. So let's go through some of the things that I did here. I set up a type for the table of contents entry, so it has a name, a page, and an optional array of items that are more table of contents entries. So like, this is now the table of contents. Our top level has a name of chapter 1, general, and that's exactly what you see here. Happens on page 1, and it has these sub items, but you'll see that chapter 2 has no sub items, so it's purely optional. So just change the interface of that. One thing I want to mention also is that the consumer of this script doesn't necessarily need to type this out themselves. I mean, they will, but not necessarily in a script. It's possible, though it may not necessarily be the correct course to do. They could actually shove a lot of this data into the metadata of the template, and then their script could actually parse the metadata and just shove it into the table of contents and index. If they're more comfortable in editing this stuff in the metadata, it's kind of up to them, but that is an alternative thing that I'm just going to point out. I think you would be better off. I think the consumer would be better off putting this right in the script, because you get, typing is better. So, anyways, so there's our table of contents entry. I added a sorting method that basically, because you might actually have something out of order, you could in fact have like chapter 2 first. Let's do that, see what happens. You'll see that it actually still sorts in the right direction. So I added a mechanism to sort everything by page number. So you can just throw them all willy-nilly if you want. and it sorts that out right on the instantiation, which is cool. A lot of this is also just pretty well documented at this point. I've thrown in some comments. I've got it now so that it actually listens to state change. So like, if I close this out, it actually updates the UI based on setting the state via hotkeys or yeah. So this updates because I've hooked into this listener here. This is all pretty much the same. I think I did the run search before. These two new functions are new. This is what gets triggered when you press the previous chapter button or the next chapter button. It's just a kind of it's a neat reduce. It's fairly straightforward. If you don't know what reduce is, it's one of my favorite JavaScript functions. It's really useful, very powerful. It's a great way to tweak arrays or do stuff with arrays. I often say that almost every array function can be replaced with reduce. So you can do pretty much anything with reduce that you could do. Like, you could replicate filter or map with reduce. Probably one of the most powerful array functions out there. Anyways, so yeah, I also just added all the logic for disabling the elements if, the current state is out of bounds of the chapter list or the page list or things. And so that's pretty much this. The only big difference that I've made is I've created this helper function that recursively renders the table of content items. So, it takes a top-level table of contents entry, renders out this thing, and then also renders the children, which is just a recursive call to this very function. And yeah, that's pretty much the biggest change that I made. As well as the pagination, which is right where? There it is. This input. Like that just handles the input for manually entering a page number. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So at this point, I think we're pretty much good. So I'm going to tab over to a new project and set up a workspace where we can start considering how to deploy this onto NPM for other people to download. So be right with you. Okay, so I've got this empty directory here, and this is the name of the library that we're going to push up to NPM. And it's completely empty right now, and I've got it open in VS Code, as you can see here. And so let's start setting up our workspace specifically for library distribution. I am going to put this out as a GitHub template, so or at least a variant of this, so you should be able to actually clone that template repository. I'll put a link in the description and all that jazz. If you don't know what I'm talking about as far as cloning a template, don't worry about it. We'll walk you through how to do it manually. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, so I'm going to pnpm init. Where is it? pnpm init. Okay, cool. So we got our package.json. Awesome. And we're going to do tsc -init. That's why I got confused on that first one. Okay, so we got our TS config here. I'm going to take a look at that real quick. And lib, we're actually going to change to ES 2022. Module, common.js, cool. We're actually going to turn on no emit. Where is it? I'm going to make a couple changes here. No emit. There it is. I know it's a little weird that we turn off no emit. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to Yep, that's right. Cool. Strict is true. Skip loop check. Can actually, let's do false. I don't think that actually matters, but I'm looking at a previous library that I made here that I'm using for reference. And the only other thing is the no unchecked indexed access. I like turning that on whenever I'm working with that. So yeah, the comments are probably, or should be pretty enlightening as far as what they actually do. If you don't know what any of these are, don't worry. It's okay. The important one is the lib ES 2022 and the no emit. Those are the important ones. Okay, so we got our TS config set up. I'm going to take a look at our package config. Alright, looks good for now. We'll get to that in a second. We're going to be making some tweaks to that first, but first we need to set up some dependencies. For one, because we're using TypeScript, I'm going to add d TypeScript. Cool, and that adds that as a dev dependency. We're going to add another one called tsup. tsup is a nice utility function that kind of bundles everything up into a distributable folder. So when you go to publish and build your mod using GitHub workflow action stuff that we'll get to in a minute, it distributes everything that it should. It's just a nice utility mod that I love using. I don't actually know what the syntax is for, let's help add. Save -- peer dependencies. Okay, that's what I want. So pnpm -- add -- save peer tabletop playground /API. Or not. It would help if I spelled tabletop right. Cool. And that's what we want. We want that as a peer dependency and a dev dependency. Awesome. We're also going to add as a dependency JSX in TTPG, because we'll need that. And I think that's actually it. Let's take a look at our original script here and see if we're missing anything. No, just that. Awesome. Okay, so this is the fun part. We're just going to basically copy all this, and we're going to put it src in index.tsx. We're just going to shove that in there. It's going to yell at me because we need to set up a certain thing here. Let me see what I need to do here. Hang on. I know what I'm missing, but I think that can actually be a pure dependency, not a dependency. So we'll do it that way. Okay. So I would instead do add -- peer or save peer. Right? Okay. Bear with me just a second. Yep. Okay, so we need to actually change a couple things in our TS config real quick. And this is just because our library utilizes JSX and TTPG. Here we go. JSX, we're going to change that to React. JSS factory is going to be JSX in TTPG. And this is actually going to be JSX_frag. See? There we go. And now it should stop freaking out. Well, it's freaking out for different reasons. Yep. That could be undefined. I mean, actually it won't be, because I already checked for the chapter length here. I already checked it for there. I already checked it here. Huh. So we can actually turn that off. That's fine. That's actually why I turn it on. It's so that it catches it and then it makes me review it, make sure I've done it right. But in this case, we can actually turn it off because all my code handles cases where the index might be undefined. That's fine, because this will short circuit, and this will bail out if it ends up being empty. So we're good there. Okay, what's next? I need to include some things. So we're going to add this include statement, and we're going to do .source everything in every subdirectory that ends in .ts as well as .tsx. Good. Declaration. Let's do that. I don't think this is actually necessary, but again, I will change that. Yeah, we should be good there. Okay, moving on. The next thing I'm going to do is come back to our package.json, and we're going to add a script. We're going to call it build. You know, that's interesting. I've got two different options here. I wonder if I did that intentionally. Maybe we don't need TS up. No, we're going to use it. We're going to use TS up. TS up. Source index.ts. I'm going to set this format to CJS ESM, DTS, and -- no splitting. Okay, so that's our build command, and I'm going to add a clean, just because rmrf dist. These commands, by the way, will let me do things like pnpm clean, pnpm build. Oh hey, that didn't work. Well, that's because we didn't do that. There we go. And now the dist. We have stuff. That's awesome. We're not actually going to run the build command. Oh. Let's try that again. Cool. Okay, so remove the dist directory. Awesome. Let's see, what else do we need? I'm going to add a couple things here, which is our main module and types. And I'm going to add a files entry here. And that's just when it gets published to npm, it will only publish the files that are listed here. So everything in the dist directory. These are just signals for npm or pnpm or yarn to go, what's the actual file that I'm importing? Doesn't much matter. this is pretty much the configuration that you're going to want in some shape or form for all of this. You might want to add a license field. I like unlicensed because, you know, I'm going to add a license file as well. Because I like the license, I like the unlicensed. It's kind of a, you know, do whatever you want, it's fine. And I am going to add a .getignore and just node modules and dist. Anyways, so that's pretty much that, isn't it? Yeah. For my own usage, I'm going to do a prettier RC because I like using that. Yep. It happens to have fit my prettier RC, but this is a good way to enforce some formatting and stuff. If they're running prettier on their machine, it'll pick up this as a config. Yeah, it's not really that important. It's fine. If I weren't lazy, I would add a README. I probably will later, but for now, that's good. Okay. I'm going to add a new folder as well. We're going to do .github and a subfolder called workflows, and we're going to add a publish.yml. And I'm just going to copy this from my stuff to here. And there you go. Basically, what'll end up happening is this will let us have GitHub build our library for us when we go to a release. I'm not good at explaining GitHub workflows. This is probably not my bailiwick. This script is fairly bare bones, and it works fine for what I need of it. If you really want to get into GitHub workflows in a more meaningful way, plenty of tutorials out there. But feel free to copy this one. This should work, but we'll find out together. It'll be fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to... I guess I should actually publish to GitHub. And we'll make this a public repository. Awesome. So I can actually go to GitHub now. Bear with me just a second. So yeah, there's our code. That's it. Seem familiar? Cool. I'm gonna take a second and you know what? I can show this. It'll be fine. You know, we haven't built it. We haven't actually gotten it up to npm yet, so we can't use it in our library just yet. So to do that, we need to do a little bit of logistical work first. I'm going to go to settings here, and we're actually going to do secrets and variables. Go to actions, and we're going to add a new repository secret, and we're going to do npm token. It is significant that this name be this, secrets.npm token. The GitHub token is auto-generated, it's fine. I'm not going to show you my npm token, so I'm going to pause this, enter it in, and hit add secret, and then you won't be able to see it because you I don't need you guys publishing to my NPM account, so no. So, hang on a sec. Okay, we've got our NPM token added. Awesome. What next? I think that's actually it. So let's give this a whirl. Let's see what happens. So if you recall, the GitHub action is an on release. And the version of this is going to be 1.0.0. So we're going to create a new release off to the right here. Choose a tag. It's customary to do the same version number that you have in your NPM package. And let's do initial release. And let's hit publish. See what happens. Now it bundles everything up, but we've got an initial release GitHub action running. So let's go take a look at that. Hopefully this should work. We'll see. Oh, hey, we got an error. What's this? Doesn't match the same in field page. Ah, we have a dependencies in lock file. Okay. Is that actually the latest version? I think 39 is the latest version. Okay. Always trips me up. I'm sure I'm actually using the wrong thing. I'm not sure frozen lock file is the right thing to use here. It doesn't matter. Anyways, I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this release. And delete this tag. Well, basically, I'm going to just do that again. It's fine. Create a new release. Create new tag, main, initial release, and publish release. Let's try that again. Gonna do some things. It built right. Let's check the publish. Did it publish? Awesome. It published. All right. Let's go check out npm.js. And what did I call it? TTPG PDF controls. It might take a second for it to actually find the results since I just published it. I guess we could actually come to packages here and take a look and see what we have here. Yeah, see, there we go. Published a few seconds ago. Doesn't have a readme. We'll fix that in a minute. That'll be fine. Okay, so coming back to this, this means that we can actually just ditch this. We don't need that anymore. Now it's going to complain because, you know, what do we do here? So in this package, we're actually going to... I'm using yarn here. So yarn add ttpg PDF controls. Right? Cool. And we'll do import PDF browser from ttpg PDF controls. And everything should still just work. Hey, would you look at that? It still works. And it's pulling from our library now. No extra code, no nothing of that. See, it's got that as a dependency. Done deal. That's it. And you can also do like, let's do this. Const talk equals talk entry. I did actually export that, right? Talk entry, yeah. Talk entry array equals, I'm just going to pull this, go to here, put that in there. Not sure why that's complaining. There we go. So we can pull the types that we exported from our library as well. So like If you notice, we exported this talk entry, the PDF browser options, and the PDF browser. So I can actually be like options. Const options equals, we're going to say of type PDF browser options equals that. Actually, we want a partial PDF options. See? How cool is that? That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's how you create a scripted library for actually pretty much anything. Like I said, I'm going to kind of set up a template version of this, so it will not include the peer dependencies for Tabletop Playground or JSX and TTBG, but it will set up all the scripts and everything. All you'll need to do is just be like, yeah, this is the entry point that I expect out of this. So, for example, the template will assume that it's TS instead of TSX, and the initial file in here will be TS instead of TSX. So you might need to actually tweak that from the template, but if you end up wanting to develop a library such as this, it's a good way to do it. Yeah, so we'll go from there. I'm not sure what the next episode's going to be yet, so stay tuned. I don't know. Give a comment if you have an idea or have any questions or anything, really. I need to get better at these outros.